Hey guys, welcome to Simulate Kingdom. And today I'm going to be ranking these empires. These are just based on how influential and successful they were, not based on what they did with those empires. Because if we're ranking them on that, then they would all go into F tier. At least most of them. But right now we're just looking at how successful they were and how well they turned out. Anyway, Brazilian Empire. I mean, uh, Lobi, because started as a very impoverished, like, state, were able to earn their independence, were able to become a big power in South America, and it's really just like a rags to riches, kind of from a lowly colony to becoming a big bastion of an empire. So yeah, I just think that for what they were given, that it just turned out wonderfully to them. And eventually, the empire will die out. But for what it was, great empire. Spanish Empire, A. They're really like, I'm going to explain it, but like, it's A, because it's the Spanish Empire. Took over most of the Americas, but it actually took down multiple giant South American civilizations. And it was just and they're just huge empire, biggest empire anyone had ever seen at the time. Did it very fast, got lots of money, took over the Caribbean. So just huge, massive, very influential empire. But I mean, as real Spain started to die out, the colonies have like wanted to have independence more and more. And eventually, when Spain fell, and Spain had no access to their colonies, the colonies just rebelled. Some through like bloody means. There really is like um there's really like no way to say like they they had like no resilience to the South American Wars of Independence. I think actually a lot of the independence movements happened either like before, during, or after the Napoleonic Wars, but Napoleonic Wars, Spain was just absolutely devastated, and its colonies, which had loose grip over, just slipped away, and then became their own countries and kingdoms that worked together to beat off the British. So, great empire to start with, but Spain fell behind Europe, and then they lost their colonies. So, anyway, let's move on to the Ottoman Empire. Above the Brazilian Empire, at the start of their reign, they did great. They uh, they lost Iran, but they took out Constantinople, and they became the kind of like the new Byzantine Empire. They took a lot of Byzantine customs and just made them more Muslim. They took northern Africa. They actually took over Egypt, and they took over a lot of the Balkans. They threatened Vienna, which is very deep in Catholic Europe. They had basically enemies everywhere, from Russia to Austria, got Hungary, but they were able to defeat a lot of them and just have a huge, expansive Balkan empire. They were able to rule over the Mediterranean, but people didn't really like trading through them or how high their tariffs were, so they looked for other places, and that kind of started colonization of the Americas. It did. When Christopher Columbus tried to find a new trade route to India. So the Ottoman Empire, but actually after that, it just became the sick band of Europe, and it went downhill for just like 400. It's basically like 400 years of falling like down a staircase, and it just progressively gets worse and worse. So, yeah, Sick Man of Europe, that's a title they deserve, but not a title that they started with. Belgium, D tier, they took over the Congo, and that's literally a very weak country, and yeah, just had one African holding, and that was really it. I mean, they did worse than the Netherlands by far in just colonization. I mean, yeah, Belgium, there's really nothing to say about it. Italy, I'm including World War II Italy for the Empire of Italy, and they just failed. That's all that they did is fail. In World War One, they were basically just a buffer state between Austria-Hungary and France. They did horribly on the Austro-Hungarian front, even when the Austro-Hungarians were split between that front and the Russian front that they were actually losing. So yeah, Italy, I mean, World War One, I think the Allies would have had a much tougher time winning if Italy joined the other side, but I feel like the Allies would have kind of the same chance of winning if Italy was just stayed neutral. World War II, they just absolutely failed, even against empires weaker than them. They were absolutely crushed, needed a lot of German help. The dictatorship of Benito Mussolini, he got kicked out of his own party. That's how weak he was. That's how weak the government was. Just, just a failing empire. They have Libya. That was literally it. British Empire. Up here. I mean, they're great colonizers, great at holding on to their territories. Um, yeah, and they're good at settling, and they just took over 25% of the world. Biggest biggest naval power for the time, actually for a lot of time. So yeah, they're able to basically hold on to their colonies no matter what. Unless like the USA, they just openly rebel. I mean, America only won because it had like very good commanders. Um, like George Washington, after U.S. was formed, he had a wonderful cabinet, and also they got French and Spanish help to do that. But Britain, just big empire, and yeah, just very powerful throughout all of history. I mean, they all lasted like the Spanish Empire. They all lasted basically the French holdings in North America, and yeah, they just slowly loosened their grip, and they're kind of getting like kicked out of places. But really, it's just they are they are the model of a big empire, a big colonization empire, imperial empire. Byzantine Empire depends on what period you're really talking about. If you're talking about Justinian's reign, then it goes above Spain. But if you're talking about it in full, it belongs here. It's just like Rome had some good empire. I mean, had some good emperors, had some bad emperors, mostly bad emperors, which ruined the country. Justinian was able to reform basically the whole entire country, and also give it Italian holdings, North African holdings, and Spanish holdings, which was really just very helpful for the Byzantines to hold on to Rome and hold on to Carthage. Yeah, so Byzantine Empire, it's really, I think they had some great times and just functioned pretty well as a Roman successor. Um, yeah, so I think when like all of Europe, I mean, basically everyone on their eastern front were able to take them out, that they were able to just kind of pacify the Eastern Front, that just take over the Mediterranean. So yeah, for that, Byzantine Empire goes in B. Macedonian Empire, Alexander the Great. He's going here. Conquered the whole entire civilized world, but immediately as he abdicated, it all fell apart. His successors just took apart the empire that he had worked so hardly to create. It's short-lived. I mean, actually, I feel like this is the kind of like the best location. I'm gonna put it above the Ottomans, just because Alexander the Great was able to do that much conquering. Um, and yeah, it just kind of it had one wonderful leader and military commander, then absolutely fell apart, fell apart, like many other empires. Yeah, I feel like this is just kind of conquering empire, but just failing at actually existing. So, B. Achaemenid. Do not know how to pronounce it. I know it's like Achaemenid Empire. I'm going to put them like right here. Basically, the first Persian Empire. Yeah, kind of first Persian Empire. We're able to get very big, but not able to hold on to it for that long. And also, there are better Persian empires that come later. So yeah, just put them right here. Japanese Imperial Empire. For the Japanese Imperial Empire, I mean, I'm going to put it. I mean, when the Macedonians invaded, they basically spread their culture everywhere, and they basically just reformed the civilized world. When Japan does it, it lasted like 9 years before they lost everything. I mean, after they lost everything, they stopped being an empire. So I'm gonna put them above the Brazilian Empire. There's a large stack in B. It just Japanese Empire did great in the beginning. I mean, what do you mean? I mean, it kind of had a good empire going for it, but it just went really bad, really quick, and they lost everything they ever had. So then this is another Persian Empire. I don't really know what this flag is, and I don't want to type in Google explaining what this flag is. Therefore, I'm going to put it here. Actually, I'm going to put it like right here, say that it's the rival of the Byzantine Empire under Khosrow. Put it right here. Did pretty good. Had a bad Eastern Front though, but were able to kick around the Byzantines. Um, and time for you to learn that I'm splitting this in half. So this is part one. See you for more on probably bad tier listing, and see you in the next episode of this. Also, a new episode that's actually informational is going to come out later today. Bye.